going to tell you a little bit about the power of personalization in a post-COVID world. Very quickly, what I'll try and cover about why I think we're entering this new age of relevance, as Harvard Business Review calls it, why personalization is the core of that, how the pandemic in 2020 has really changed what it means. I mean, a lot of our work is with consumer financial services, banks, consumer lifestyle companies, what it means to be relevant in a post-pandemic, post-COVID world. How personalized marketplaces are, in fact, the summit of this, or the acme of this age of relevance, and what we've done and some of the examples of work that we've done in that space. So I'll keep that a little bit short. So let me start straight off and jump into the problem from a customer perspective. Every customer in the world today, all literally probably many billions of the 7 billion people on the planet are digital natives. I think irrelevance annoys them in every aspect of their life. They're tired of spam. They expect personalized services and personalized experience. And survey after survey shows this. And what's very important is the fact is that once they're impressed by one highly personalized and relevant experience from one brand in one category, they bring that same expectation to all their brand relationships. In other words, it's not good enough to be relevant or at the, or to kind of be at the top of your industry, but you got to be that on a consistent basis across experiences, across all categories. And this is kind of interesting because what's happening is that the world of business tends to be dominated, except in the startup world, by people who are digital immigrants. And so we don't consider this as such a big factor. Whereas if you look at not the traditional enterprise, but the digital giants, they're able to stay on top of what you call the relevance game of these. All of us have great examples from various digital companies. We all use Spotify or Netflix. If you're in Singapore, it'll be Grab. Somewhere else, it may be some other taxi service, Expedia for travel, Deliveroo, Swiggy, food delivery services. And many of them we find somehow are able to be very, very relevant to our lives. They manage to stay relevant. And if you look at it, and I'm going to use Spotify because music in some ways is universal. Spotify has about 200 million customers and about 140 million songs in its catalog. And theoretically speaking, that's 28 quadrillion choices of songs that they have to really figure out. And they've got to find a way to bring this down to 4 to 6 choices to serve to every individual. This is the screen snapshot of one of the people in my company. And you can see in the Made For You button that Spotify is able to show something that's made for you, which is uniquely hers. A playlist which takes you back in time, a time capsule, on repeat, the songs you can't get enough of right now, repeat, rewind, past songs that you can't get enough of, family mixes, because it recognizes that sometimes your tastes are eclectic, your daily mixes, and so on and so forth. How is it that, and this is true, again, you take Netflix, you take taxi companies, food delivery services, they're all able to personalize and understand you really, really well. How are they able to do that? They do 3 things really well. And all of these are big data and AI problems. First, they really profile you very well, which means they're looking at data about you, not just what they have, but matching it with all kinds of data outside to actually develop a view of what we call their taste or preferences. Second, they're able to engage you by literally creating a wide range of experience across every touch point and every interaction. But it's not just an omni-channel experience as people talk about, it's an intelligent experience that they're engaging you with. And third, they're actually able to drive you to transact or do commerce by having the right bunch of products, merchants, offers, etc. At the other end of it, that they're able to make you kind of deliver some business to them. And we're all asking at this point, why can't my bank, could be my airline, my hotel, but let's stay with the bank for now. Why can't my bank do the same? We all know that we would probably open a Spotify recommendation or a Netflix recommendation, but we hardly open the communications that our banks send us or the offers they send us. And that's because they've continued to put out irrelevant messages and experience, and especially so in the pandemic, and we'll come to that in a moment. But by and large, I think a lot of the stuff that goes on is not really very relevant to my life. And this is in spite of the fact that the bank is a core part of my entire being. So that's really a question that we spend a lot of time in Crayon. How can banks achieve relevance in this world? And part of the platform that we built, maya.ai, is really what we call an AI platform for the age of relevance to solve this problem for large enterprises. It's what we call a two-sided platform that unlocks the value of commerce for banks, their customers, and their merchants. So on the one hand, we're saying a bank has a lot of customers. It's got a million or 5 million or 10 million customers. It does have access to a few offers, but it doesn't really have a way in which all the merchants at which their customers transact can directly interact with that. Our platform really provides, if you will, not just the ability for the customer to go to the right merchant, but for the merchant to find the right customer and target it, much like a Spotify or a Netflix or an Amazon would, except that this is a platform that is kind of built for banks to be able to stay relevant. What does it really mean? I guess before I go there, I'd like to start talk a little bit. I mean, this is a big data conference about the kind of technology that's needed to be able to deliver something like that. In Crayon, we built something called the taste graph. It's um, it's our own version of an external data set. It's a unique map of global tastes and billions of data points. For example, we know every restaurant in the world, every hotel in the world, attractions in 200 major cities, merchants, other things. And what we built out there is a graph methodology that says that from even if I know your taste, let's say in Singapore, and you land up in Sao Paulo, can I help you find something relevant in Sao Paulo based on what kind of behavior you exhibited in Singapore. And that does it with a patent about that basically allows us to calculate affinities between any two merchants in the world, but also is able to kind of look at it and say I can extract unstructured data sets on every merchant and therefore try to understand why you might have chosen a particular merchant, because that's normally why you would have gone to that particular merchant. And I'll come to that a little bit in a practical example. The next part of what we built is what we call a choice AI, which is a bunch of different algos that we put together into a walk. I won't say too much except that essentially, if you look at it, every choice you make is a function of your taste, your influences on you, your current context, and your past behavior. And these data sets are typically with different companies. Behavior is with a bank, context is with your browser, influence in social media, taste is with review sites. They're all different kinds of data coming at different speeds. And you need a fantastic walk where you can put all of these things together, mix them up, and still come up with the right answers. And that's something that we've done very well because it's a mix of big data techniques, it's a mix of AI and ML techniques, it's a big mix of statistical techniques, and you got to find some way, like I said, to make them all work together. And the final thing is we actually said we prepared for a privacy sensitive world even before things like GDPR came into play. We actually said, can an algorithm work to uncover taste by using entities, not people? Meaning, I don't know who you are, but I want to know what you do. And basis what you do, I want to find out more things that you might be relevant for you. So, what the platform was able to do is deliver millions of unique personalized storefronts for every individual's unique taste within a matter of days, not months, not quarters. A week, 7 working days after we get data sets, we're able to say, here is the first version of this that works for you. And the experience itself is something out here that we're just showing, but it literally could be any experience that a digital player offers you today. So, for example, here, you'll see that there is one gentleman, Sunny, and we're talking about in the food industry, but it can happen in multiple industries. Every user is able to see personalized recommendations on the homepage, including a taste match score, something Netflix and Spotify do very well, and a reasoning engine that explains why that particular option is available for that. For example, interest in bar and steak and romantic food or steak. Our secret really is what we call taste-based matching. When we look at when a person goes and shops somewhere or eats somewhere or travels to some location, we're able to uncover a whole bunch of unstructured data attributes from review sites and other things saying, what are the reasons why that person liked it? Did he go there for the view? Is it because of the special occasion? Was there great wine, great food, a particular dish, etc., in the case of restaurants? And it's an engine that is able to do this across the world and across categories. So there are lifestyle categories like travel, shopping, etc., that we have trained the algos on. But clearly, if you want to talk about a new category, we kind of need to really point it at that category, get the same kind of data that is needed, and in a few months' time, we'll be able to offer this in any category that a bank chooses to, or any customer of ours wants to operate in. It's also something that we said it's not important to just profile the customer, we need to engage them. So we looked at how can we take this whole, what we call the profile that we build, and power any channel or use case. I'm going to talk a few things about a few things we do. You're able to show personalized landing pages and widgets of any asset like this. Imagine if you're a travel person, a travel agency was able to do this for you. A marketplace in a box where you basically can go in there and say everything from the merchants to the customers to the matching is done. We've used this very successfully to power the most successful digital wallet launch in Asia with over 6 million customers, 300,000 agents on a map, the kind of thing that you see, like I said, in your ride hailing service, but done by a bank in like record time and with the record amount of value being transacted through the platform, to even enabling humans like personal concierge or personal agents at the end of a bank, uh, kind of completely create personalized itineraries or any kind of recommendation across millions of hotels and flights in less than 2 minutes. Something that today the best travel engines in the world find hard to do.
Many of our clients have seen these metrics in action. Here's a quick look at some of the results. For a global bank in Singapore, maya.ai identified the best merchants to acquire and personalized email campaigns too. Maya.ai also personalized recommendations on the bank's offer portal. For a global payments network, maya.ai identified the best merchants to acquire. It helped personalize campaigns across channels. A personal concierge was launched to create personalized itineraries for customers. For the largest credit card issuer in India, maya.ai personalized email and SMS campaigns across various lifestyle categories. Maya.ai also personalized recommendations on their offer portal and net banking website. For a leading airline in the Middle East, maya.ai personalized trips for every customer based on their purpose of travel. To wrap it up, maya.ai uses relevance to drive customer engagement and transactions for enterprises, and the numbers do the talking. If you'd like to know how maya.ai can boost your portfolio, talk to us today.